Hi, and welcome, and good evening to the bonus event for the PPW VIPs. So, welcome. How are you all doing? It's been a little over a week since we finished the. Oh, actually, since we started, Rosie, isn't it? Time does fly. Time does fly. So, hi Glenn, how you doing? Good to see you in here. Hi Joan, great to see you in here as well. Hello. So a small class tonight actually. So although we had an absolute record number of VIPs, I guess it's a Monday evening, isn't it? And we're streaming, live in the UK. It's 7 o'clock at night. America, it is a Monday, so a lot of people could be getting out, going to work, shopping. Shopping is always a good one. Um, so can't complain at that. And so if you are here from America, welcome. Lovely to have you on board. So if you haven't been out to the shops yet, you can do this afterwards. And if you're in Australia or New Zealand, then you're probably asleep actually. Uh, so quite likely. So look, I'm not going to yap along. I'm not going to talk a lot. I'm just going to get straight down to it. Oh, crikey, there's someone from Australia who's awake. Linda, wow, 2 o'clock. You crazy gal. Well, all I can say is thank you, for being awake, for here. Hi, Marie. Lovely to have you here. Uh, so look, I'll just kind of get straight to it. I won't. Sorry, I'm still stunned. Actually, 2 o'clock in the morning. Wow. You must have had some good caffeine earlier, I'll tell you, because that's the only thing that kind of keeps me up at that sort of time of the morning. Anyway, so look, fur. So let's talk about fur. I really want to talk about the three kind of phases of fur, which is before you draw, while you're drawing, and after you're drawing. Um, so it's really about making considerations to what it is you're doing. I'm not really going to do any kind of fur techniques or practicing fur or stuff like that. It's really more a thinking about it and what you're going to do about this. And I have a drawing that's actually in our framed group. It's this July's one, which is a bee. So I'll be using this as a kind of a reference, picture to pick out some of the points on it for you. Um, it's. I think when we fur is one of these difficult. I use the word difficult tentatively because it's not difficult. It's more time consuming. It's more. Um, there's a lot of different variations of fur. So if you have one animal, I mean, there's few animals where you can say, well, actually, it's quite similar. Um, you know, Actually, bee, for example. But when you start to, move into the realm of, let's just say, cats and dogs, there's probably more specifically dogs because there's actually for a species there's actually quite a wide variation of type of dog. Probably more than most animals. That has a considerable variant on on the types of fur that you actually get. If you were to take a bird, well, it's really just the same kind of feather strokes, different colours. But with dogs, you have short, you have curly, you have long, you have wavy, you have wiry, you have afro-y, Afghan style. No, what are those dogs? They kind of look like I don't know. It's like afro hair. They look like mops. Is all I can say. I hope none of you have one because it probably sounds really quite um, disingenuous to them. But yeah, all I can say is they just look like they're wearing afros, which is marvelous. Just unusual, I suppose. So there's that. So you've got all of that. Then you've got the different colours that happen around them. And you do have colours. You have blues, you have magentas in them, and then of course you've got the colour of the codes. It's not really black because those colours carry the blues and magentas. They carry the reflective colours more so. So if you have white dogs and or black dogs, you'll get more reflections in them from colour surrounding the environment than you will more I suppose mid-tone flavoured dogs. So, and especially, and or if you have one that is just has a one coat color. So if it is a brown, it tends to be the darker colors or the really light colors that you'll get these other colors sort of getting in there. So you just want to kind of pay attention to that. So when you first get your drawing, and you first get your reference image that you're going to be drawing from, I would recommend that you spend a good amount of time kind of studying it. And I don't mean necessarily, well, what do you study? But you can kind of look at it and go over in your head. Well, how would I do this bit? This is what I do. I will spend sometimes not days on end, but throughout a number of days or weeks, thinking about that drawing that I'm going to be doing, and trying to work out in my head. If you saw the last, if some of you managed to see the last VIP one, but bonus day, I work out in my head what it is that I'm going to be doing. So I don't jump in there and just go, oh great, get in there and draw. Colourfoodle, please, especially the ears. He's a man. He's lots of shades. Yeah, red cinnamon. Sorry, I'm just having a look at some of these things. Black fur. I have 3 black working cockers and would love to draw them. Haven't even tried. Too scared. Just do it. Just literally go ahead and do it. Don't worry about if it get it wrong. It does not quite looking right. Blah blah blah. If you don't, you just never get to know. So just do it and go. Well, look, if it's rubbish, pick it up, wrap it up, put it in the bin, start another one. So don't ever think that you shouldn't do something because you're too scared to do it, because the reward is only through failure. You don't get reward from the beginning. It really does not happen. You have to go through that whole I don't know if I can do it. To be fair, I don't know if I can do it on nearly every single drawing that I do, because they're so different. And every time I had a portrait come in, I would look at it and go, oh my god, how am I going to do that? So it's you just have to do it. And especially around Christmas time, when you're doing 3-4 a day and you don't have a choice, it's just because they paid you, they're paying you, you need the money because it's Christmas presents, for goodness sakes. So you just have to go through it and go, I'm just drawing it, I'm going to make mistakes, it's not going to be as great as I want to know. If you're doing it for other people, I think I've only had 2 people out of 200 drawings or so that were not that happy, but we kind of got round there in the end and convinced them and said, well look, actually there's nothing wrong with it, blah blah, and they went, okay, yeah, got it. And it's just, and it was nothing to do with the drawing, it was more their expectations of what they thought it was going to be like, even though they'd seen all my work previously. So it's just do it. That's all I can say, just do it. So when it comes to fur, you want to spend some time beforehand just kind of studying the photograph, looking at it, for the colors, looking for where the colors vary, and so if I get you this one that I'm doing at the moment, let me put you onto the B. So this is the B, and I'll just see if I'm just going to swap it back, and I just want to make this bit of the image bigger. There we go. So you should hopefully be able to see my mouse on here. So I've done the top part, which is all around that. It looks like a sugar puff, the top bit to me. So if any of you get that, it looks like a sugar puff with a honey monster, which is actually quite apt, seeing as it's a bee. So what I do is I study and go, well, okay, what are the colors in here? When I kind of look at this, I want to know what sort of colors am I dealing with? What are some of the issues I might have? What are some of the problems that are going to come up? The first two big problems that you're going to get more than anything is the fact that you have a black in here right next to it. So and you've got a light color going next to it. So black in itself, or a very dark, well, yeah, really black, to be honest with you, black makes it tricky and difficult when you have light colors next to it, because it's so strong in contrast, and the actual pastel itself can contaminate the pictures next to it, the color next to it. So it's really easy to put the black in there, and some of it gets over here, and once you get it onto this light bit, it's a nightmare to get off. It's just horrible. So that's probably the biggest issue, is just how you deal with that. And again, you'll see it actually on mine. If you look, let me get a pencil to show you. So on here, so I've got the black and I've got this light color, which is what I'm doing. So now as we kind of get into the drawing itself, so I'll probably flick a bit between what you think about before and what you think about while you're drawing or after. So it's not quite as clean as everything, because I'm trying to give you examples as we go along. So on here, I've got the light color and I've got my black. So I needed to mark out on this picture, where the black is and where the light is. So and I started out by putting this yellow in. Now this is going to be my lightest color that I need to do. So on your lightest colors and your darkest colors, you want to put them in first. So that's my darkest, it's black. That's my lightest, it's yellow. If this was lighter than the black, more like a brown, but it had some black parts in it, I still would have maybe done these black bits here and some brown, black areas. So I mean, this area just here, you can see it's got this sort of bright white on it. That's fine, because I can come in and I'll do it now. I'm actually using a yellow, so I don't want to do that. So although I put black down, maybe here's a grey, it's a light grey, I can still come in with a colour on top of that, which is light grey, and that will just sit quite nicely on top. And these are kind of dots on there, so but it's not as light, this grey would be, if I put this onto an even lighter colour than the black. So the black is contaminating that grey. So now I can get a white and put this on top. Okay, and it's still not going to be as bright as what it would be if that was on another colour, but it's enough. It's starting to come out. So always put your brighter colours down. If you got a spaniel, let's say a cocker spaniel like ours, which he's a blue roan, so he has some black and some white. I will do the white, for example, here, and then, actually you can't see it, but just let me get my camera down. So just move the camera down to here. Now this is white on the actual B. You can see this area here. So it's kind of a tan brown, very light kind of brown color here, grayish, and it's really grey that is a white. But I'm putting a white down, literally a bright white, because I want that to make sure that any other colors I put on top are going to be light, that it will lighten them up naturally by the fact that it's white. So I don't want to accidentally put a dark, too dark color on this, because this is my lightest area, and so I'm really separating these colors out. So that's probably the biggest main thing you want to do when you're drawing your pets and stuff or animals, is separate your lights and your darks and keep them separate. And so this is white, bright yellow. And you can see it's even contaminated there with some of this orange in there. So even going back over it, I can't take it out. And so I've just contaminated that again with a bit of black in it, and it's really tough. And that's what you have to be careful with. So so that's kind of the main key things is you keep your white, your lightest light and your darkest dark. Don't try and start off with a mid-tone on your lights. It's just not going to work, because you will struggle to get that bright white back in there. And the same with black. If you started too much of a mid-tone color, and if I started with a gray in there, it just makes it a little bit trickier. So if I just go full on black all the way down, then I can carry on with it from there. Oh, camera's blurry. Okay, sorry. How's that? Is that a bit better? So I probably need to raise it a bit more. Okay. So I'm going to do, I think I'll practice some color first swatches from a photo. Yeah, absolutely. Or use the color atlas if you haven't got that. It's a great thing to do, and then you can make your color swatches from that. Because if even going through here, I'm trying to stick to Faber-Castell on this for the framed tutorial, and there are colors in there that are missing that I just wouldn't use. So and this is where I would just use the color atlas and go, right, that's the color I want from that one. I would swap out. So these kind of colors down here, these mauves and this pink is actually Derwent. Faber-Castell doesn't do a great range of pinks. Derwent does. Derwent has some beautiful, wonderful colors that do mauves and purples and pinks. Really nice range. So that's where I'd swap over to them, and that's what's useful about. Sorry, I'm not trying to sell it to you at all. I'm just explaining why it's really useful, because you could look at it and go, oh yeah, they've got great range of pinks. Oh, actually, they've got an amazing range of yellows, or for different brands. And you go, great, I'll just get those ones and get those ones, and that's where it's a lifesaver for me. And so when you're thinking about your colors. So from in here, so now I'm going onto this yellow. So I would choose. There's this kind of brown, orange, terracotta color, but because I've done an orange at the top. Now I actually started this picture last year, so this is a year old. My style has changed in this year. My skill, my quality, what I can do is 10 times better than what it was back then. So the colors that I would choose now are different to what it is back then. But because I've started this, I can't go back, so I have to keep with the consistency with it. So that's really the next major point when you are working already, is that you want to keep the colors that you've got, your main colors, throughout your drawing. So I can't change this. See, I would probably go to this sort of color brown here, so 186, and if I can just move this down, and you can see it's got more of a it's not orange, it's more orange here, but this is kind of a how would you say it, I suppose it is a gold, and so brown works better as a gold. So if I put this in, yeah, it just works a lot better. So I've just got to be careful. Actually, I might be able to use it, to be fair. And even up here, I think I probably would have chosen more of a tan or a gold, but I might be able to put that back in. So you can still, use some of the colors that you've got and go, well, actually, can I add to that? And that's actually where we look at things at the end. Once which this was actually, you can look at it after your drawing, after you've finished with it, and do this kind of Louvre method that we were talking about, and look back and say, can I add to that? Can I deepen that color? Is that the color that I really wanted? And I wouldn't do it straight away. So I would give yourself at least minimum of 48 hours, 2 days away from your drawing where you're not touching it. So you finished it, or maybe you've just actually finished a very important piece, like around here, for example, and then you go away and you think, yeah, I'm happy with that, I'm good to go. Go away, leave it, think on it, and go, what would I do? Is there anything that I would do differently? Ask these kind of questions. What's troubling me? If you're not happy, then that means that something's not quite finished yet. Something's bubbling up. So definitely give it about 2 days 24 hours is good, which is one of those, just sleep on it. And that's if you're doing something already. Sleeping on it is a really good idea. If you can, if you are doing a bigger piece, it gives you time. Doing a portrait all at once, while it can be good, it doesn't give you time in your head to kind of go back over what it is that you're doing, and allowing that other brain of yours, your subconscious mind, to sort of work on these sort of problems while you're thinking about how to do it. So you definitely want to do that as an after you've done your drawing, is go away and leave it. I would highly recommend trying not to complete drawings in a day if you can, and not until you've kind of skilled up a lot more, and where you just go, well, yeah, that's easy, I know what I'm doing, and that's fine. But when you start to get a few more kind of trickier pieces, that's where you want to take yourself back a bit. So going back into actually doing the drawing itself, and so once you've got your lighter colors on and you've got your darker colors on, it's then about saying, well, how am I layering the fur? You see, the thing about fur is, and I'm talking about fur more than anything else, is, well, I guess that's because that's what we're talking about, is fur is a layered thing. It's not a single surface. So when we talk texture, really what we're talking about texture. Let me sort of look on here. So if we look at this bumblebee, so texture it's a difference in layer between something that's at the top. So we know that we've got the light is hitting right on this part here, and then just here there is no light, it's dark. So what gives this darkness and this brightness is that there's a difference in texture, that there's an opening, and so texture is a difference between the amount of layers. So these strands here are layered over the top of this one, so this is going to be brighter than this one, but we've got little bright patches here, and then these are layered over the top, that's layered over the top of this one, that's layered over the top, this is layered over the top. And so as we're kind of going down, we're actually going down in depth. So fur, do you ever use a program to help you determine different colors and layers in fur? Yeah, I use my color atlas. That's what I use. So it's the quickest and it's the easiest way of doing it. I did use Photoshop before, but the reason why I use the color atlas is because it's actually got the pastel pencils on there. The problem with using a program is you'll end up just getting these colors here and go, well, yeah, amazing, wow, I've got that color here, it's nice bright yellow, and then you look at it and go, oh, I don't have a pencil for that. And there's so much variation over here, it's easier just to go, well, I can look at all my colors that I have in one brand and go, well, look, all my yellows. Well, okay, well, actually, I've got the yellow head there. That's the one that I would use. So here, I would use that, actually, to be fair, the one that I just picked up a minute ago, which was this 186 on this side. If I just grab this, you can see it. So if I just do some of these marks across, then you can see that's actually not a bad color match to it. So then I just carry on drawing these down, following some of these markings that I've got, just some very light ones just at the edge. Whoops, there goes my mouse, and some over this side. So I would continue using this color where I'm seeing this color on the paper, and then where I kind of see that it's stopped, then I wouldn't, if that kind of makes sense. And if you noticed, I know Glenn, you talked about this the other day in one of your posts. You said, Rob, you're talking about wiggle here, wiggle there, and a V here and a V there. Here's your V's. V there and there. And so hair clumps, okay? All hair clumps, and there's another V, and here there's a V, there's a V, there's a V shape. So you want to get used to kind of drawing in V's. I think the Color Atlas only did the brown. No, no, not at all. So you can use the Color Atlas to yes, you can see across them, but you can go to the Color Atlas and go, okay, what colors have I got around this kind of orange, brown, tan range? In, let's just say, if you've only got Faber-Castell, and you can go down and go, oh yeah, actually got 3 or 4 colors that I can pick out from that. Great. So there's my color pencils. Good, I can use that. But let's say you're doing it and go, actually, I don't have this pink. Oh, that's a shame. I don't have that. But because you're in the area of the pinks in the Color Atlas, you go, actually, Derwent does. And they've got a good range of pinks. Well, why don't I go and buy just 3 or 4 of them? I don't need the whole set. And that's what I do. I just go and buy the ones that I need. And look at this whole picture. As you can see, the 3 main colors, purples, yellow, or orange, I suppose, more than anything, black, grey, black, you know. That's your 3 prime colors. So now I can use something like the Color Atlas, go in there and say, well, okay, who has the largest range of these main colors in here? Go, well, Derwent has these colors for these purples all over. Stabilo Carbothello, they have a couple. The oranges, actually, yeah, Faber-Castell has some great range of oranges in here. Stabilo does as well, actually. They got some good kind of false colors and stuff. But yeah, for the brightness, yeah, probably stick with Faber-Castell. Blacks, yeah, any of them. So that's what you can do. I just find a software program just takes a lot of time and effort to kind of get there, whereas the Color Atlas is just something that I use daily and just go, great, that's my colors, got it, thank you very much, and get on with it. So I'm sorry, it really isn't a plug. I'm just saying, to me, I see it as a tool as equally valuable as the pencils and the paper that you use, because it's a tool that helped me with my art. It's not a luxury, you know. So it's just another kind of bit of software that isn't. So getting back to the B. So yeah, so choose your colors, and then, you know, look at the shapes. You want to look at the shapes that you've got in the fur. So where am I? Let's just grab a little bit of paper here. So here's some paper here. So you know, fur doesn't just go straight down. It does in places, but it clumps, and you'll find that it will clump even in going in, you know, in kind of you know, curls, you know, and it seems to clump in V's, and our hair does as well. You know, it's not unique to you know, dogs or cats or anything. But then out of these clumps, let me just find any old color. You know, we can now start to add some of these kind of highlights, you know, that we get over the top. And as soon as we start adding some of these highlights, we start to separate these clumps out, you know, really quite nicely. And it starts to look a little bit more like hair in there. So now let's get a darker brown. We can separate it out again with getting some of this dark, you know, that we showed on the bumblebee. You know, some of these different areas. And so just by having, you know, 3 different colors that sit around, you know, this one tone, this brown, you can start to create the shape of fur. Just add a little bit more again, you know, and I'm being really kind of rough and not really doing a good job, but it's kind of okay, you know. It looks more like a hand, but you know, so then we can add a little bit more down here and go in another direction, because we have some other fur coming in another direction. And when you start changing directions on the fur, that's again when you start to give it texture, and you start to give it shape. But now we can separate them by getting some darkness back in there where the light would kind of hit it and maybe, you know, break out some of these areas. So yeah, does that kind of make sense? It'll probably look a lot better once we've done a bigger piece. That took 1 minute. So at the beginning of your drawing, just to kind of recap, just before you do it, you want to spend some time looking at the drawing and look at the shapes that are coming out. Think about the colors that you've got. You know, it's not one color. You know, no animal has one color. If it's black, it's going to have other colors in it. You know, if you see with the bee around the eye, let's just move over. Yeah, you can see the eye here. I think I'm going to just move this. Let me just swap it back out. Or I just make this smaller. Transition that back. If you look at the eye, we've got this purple being reflected on this from the flowers, and that's also reflected just in underneath. And this happens. So you will find that if you've got black, you're going to get other reflections. You know, if it's outside on, you know, running along on the grass, you're going to get green in there. Especially if they're white, then you will really pick that up. So have a look at these colours that you've got in there, and you can. You know, the great thing about black is you can actually add these colours after you put your black down. So, you know, for example, if I just take, yeah, I'll do it here. So let's take this bit of the leg. So there's a little bit of purple just kind of hitting on the edge. So I can just add a little bit of this purple on there, kind of nicely, and add it to it. And now it's added to the black, and it sits quite nicely on the top. So you don't have to put the purple down first. You can just put it on the top as like a glaze. Yeah, you're welcome, Lila. So I go and recap, and then I end up to carrying on and going more. So yeah, at the beginning, before you start, check your colours, check the shape of fur, and spend some time looking at it. Give it a couple of days if you can. It's always good to do that. When you're drawing your fur, now let me just get back. When you're drawing it, think about your layers. Think, you know, how many layers are you doing? You know, look for the deepest layer. Okay, well, how far down is that on the body? If it's quite surface level, then it's going to be generally probably lighter than it will be if it's a layer further down, which is going to be darker. And if it's obviously right at top, then your pet, your animal, is going to have more lighter colors on it. So you'll probably be starting with lighter colors than necessarily darker ones if it's kind of reflective. So when you're working on there, use your pencil, use it gently. Okay, don't kind of go full force and go, oh, just add lots of pressure on there, because you'll just destroy your paper, and fur doesn't look like that. Yeah, think of how soft fur is, then think about drawing it as softly as the fur is. Then your fur will start to look soft. Sorry, it's just a stupid people. Go away. Spam telephone calls. So yeah, be gentle with your pencil. Keep it light, and if you've got a good base layer down, there's filled up a good amount of tooth on there, and so you should almost feel that your pencil's skating over it. And when you've got that kind of feeling, then that's when the fur will really start to come out. So layering is all about depth. That's the main thing. It's all about depth, and that's what we sort of teach in the frame method. You know, it's all about that. And if you haven't seen the horse, have I got my horse one here? Yeah. Let me just put this on. So this is what we've done last time. So yeah, actually, let me just flip that back, so I can just move this right out of the way. So this is the horse eye that I've done in there. So what you'll see with the fur is it's all about layering. It's about getting these bits right at the let me just move that down. Right at the foreground, making your foreground stand out compared to your background that's blurred. So this really gives you that depth, and you can see it very clearly down here. So you can see that that background is really blurred out, but we've got this strong foreground. What are these, eye whiskers or something, standing out, and that's what will make your drawing pop when you separate out these foregrounds and backgrounds. And then lastly, getting on to it for after you've drawn, it's all about standing back from it, doing the Louvre method, spending a day or two away from your picture or area that you've been working on, depending upon your time constraints, and just ruminating and going for walks and asking yourself these questions: what am I missing? What can I improve on? Or actually not improve on, but just kind of, what can I make that's going to make it stand out? What's going to give me those kind of textures? And always look for contrast as well. Get these darks in, get these lights in. That contrast gives you depth. And then the last thing is, a lot of people ask, should you use fixative? Should you spray? And so after you've finished it, the straight answer, honest answer is no, never. So how do you deal with that problem? If you're selling your portrait, put these bits of paper over the top, lysine paper that come with pastel matte paper. So put them on top, and then send it out with that. That it works fine. If you're framing it, put it in a frame. Leave a good 3 mil between the glass and or the stuff. And that's it really. So that's how you want to deal with things. Beginning, spend some time, colour, fur, ruminate, think about it. Middle of it, choose your colours, make sure they're right, get depth, get contrast, keep it gentle with the way you're doing it, and at the end, again, think on it and think, is there anything else that you need to change to get that depth and contrast again, and don't use fixative. Okay. Yeah, fabulous. So we've done the fixative thing. Okay. Okay. So okay. So sorry, I'm just getting some things to talk about. Different types of fur in dogs or cats. Okay. So different types of fur. From what I remember, cats have short fur. Cats are very patterned, whereas dogs aren't. Dogs tend to be more patchy than cats. Cats do have patterns, and what you're wanting to do is draw those kind of patterns in there. So it's very short, sharp kind of flicks of the pencil, and cats do require a lot more kind of pencil strokes to get that fur in there. I don't think they work so well when you how can you have it just have a number of dashes to make the fur look like it's there. Sometimes you put it like a blank background, color down, and add a little bit of highlight, and that will make it look like this fur. With cats you can't. You've almost got to do the same as what I've done with the bumblebee, and that's draw those sort of fur lines and fur markings in. Dog fur, biggest issues most people come up with is when it comes to curly hair, and probably spaniel ears are probably the biggest ones. You just need to practice. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. The thing about practice is practice what I've showed you on the Rosy Week and what you got in there. people say practice makes perfect. Practice doesn't make perfect, because if I practice the wrong thing, well, it does actually makes perfect not very good if I do the wrong thing. So practice on things that you know you do well and all are learning to do well. Don't practice on things that you're not so good at, because that doesn't work. Okay, you want to learn. When you're not good at something, you want to learn that bit. When you start to get good at that, then practice more of that. Then that makes that better. So dog fur, yeah, curly fur. It's just about the movements. Yeah, it's just about get that movement. Lots of small movements around, exactly the same as what we did with Rosie. Just lots of them in straight lines, but just now turn it curly. With Spaniel hair, it's that pattern. It's that V shape but curled, and then curled the other way, and then curled down. But then what you've got to practice is this kind of S shape. Yeah. So I would get some paper and just practice doing an S, and then extend your S by another circle. So really, that's what it is. It's an S, and then almost like a half an S, and then maybe a third of an S. So, you know, you can even just do two S's. And if you keep in your head this way when you're drawing it, go S, 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 you know. So when I draw, you're going to think I'm a little bit weird here. I draw with sound in my head. So if I'm drawing a shape, I'll go. If it's got a little bit extra, it'll be. And I draw with sound. Just the kind of way that I'm built, really. So I hear and I see what it is that I'm doing at the same time. The sounds help me in the same way that a singer will use their hand to go la 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 la. Okay, so that's what I do. So a singer is using a kinesthetic to an auditory, but also visual signal. So they're actually using their 3' systems as they're seeing, hearing, and feeling at the same time. So I do this with drawing as well. When I'm drawing, if I'm doing flicks, I'll go inside my head. So there we go. Someone's got to be weird at this, don't they? Okay. Yeah, I think that's it. Poodle hair, lots of tiny little curls, and the same thing with. Actually, let's see if I can even show it to you on here, just before we kind of wrap it up. So poodle hair, let's just find a colour. Okay, actually let's get our brown. Gotta get my glasses again. So, right, okay. So there we go. So let's just put a brown background on. So putting a brown background on. I'm going to curl it round in that kind of shape of the fur. So okay, so what we're doing, for example, is we're just going around, keeping these curls. So I can even hear the sound of the pencil on there. Yeah, call me weird, I know. And some more around it, more around. And just going lots of little circles. Around. Now I can come with my light colour and you just again graze that surface, and these ones just grazing it. So I'm always just going back to putting one colour on and then putting another one on. And now, I don't know if you can hear it, but that surface is just starting to skate on there, so it's getting a really nice surface on there. And now we can just add in some of these kind of little hairs, a little bit stronger, a little bit tighter. And now we can even add some of these flicks, just flick some of these hairs a little bit over some of these other areas. And then if we take our darker brown, I mean the brown I've got here is probably a little bit too dark than what I would choose, but then we just add in just some of these areas where there's a little bit of shadow maybe. And that pastel matte is just starting to work nicely on there because the pencil's just starting to flick in there. So that's what I would do for short curly hair. Okay, any other questions before we kind of head off and call it a night on that? So, hey, firstly, thanks a lot for turning up. I appreciate your time, and you've all been doing amazing drawings from what I've seen in Rosie this week, and that's been an absolute pleasure to watch. So I hope this helps you in being fantastic. Sorry, was that cheesy? Okay. All right. So any other questions? I think I have to give it like 20 seconds on here because of the time delay. If not, then I will bid you adieu. I've got an itchy nose. Something I've eaten, clearly. Okay. Curly hair, I come absolutely. You're welcome. Look, great to have you here, all of you. Been fab. Have yourself a great rest of the day, evening, and also night. 2 p.m. in the morning. Wow, that's just pretty kind of amazing, isn't it? All right. See you soon, and have fun. Bye for now.